Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. I am Sava, living in the mud, apparently. Hashtag Sava's fault seems to be trending. Apparently, I sack people and hire them, and I don't know. Brian, how are we doing, man? Are you well? Brian from Tottenham on tour.
What can I say, mate? Am I well? When it comes to anything, and I do mean anything and everything, apart from Tottenham Hotspur, zippity doo dah, zippity day. When it comes to Tottenham Hotspur, yeah, I just don't know what to say anymore. I mean, even me, we're at a place where it just gets more and more embarrassing.
Absolutely, it does. It does. And long time, Stel from Tottenham Away, back on the channel. How are you, mate? You well?
Yeah, listen, life is all right. I can't complain about life. Spurs, I think we all know where Spurs are at. We've all got our opinions and views on it. But other than that, it's another day. Same rinse, repeat, right? Every day. Same old.
Absolutely.
Nothing's
Absolutely.
changing. Nothing's changing.
Look, let's get into it. Before we do, let me address the elephant in the room. I know a lot of people still, we've had this chat offline. A lot of people put comments into your show saying I've said things about you. A lot of people put comments into my show saying you said things about me. What they don't know is that you and I behind the scenes have had a conversation, cleared the air. Life's too short. And if anyone puts any comments about each of us, we do message each other and go, hey, what happened? And so we know. So all is good. Let people talk, but life's too short for all of the nonsense, right?
Yeah, and just to add to that, for me, I spoke with Sava, and we're both just fed up of the drama. Half of it is created not by us, believe it or not, and half of it is probably between us. But look, life is too short, and if we are going to get ENIC and Levy out, if we are going to come together as fans, the channels have got to get on. If we don't, we're just, I think we're helping Levy. So, yeah, it's in the past, it's done, we crack on.
Yeah, can I just add on that very quickly? I want to say thank you, Daniel Levy.
Left out?
No, I just want to say first of all, it's great to see you two back on talking terms and everything. But I'd like Stel and you have both said, thank you very much, Daniel Levy, for doing what you're doing, because all you're doing is the YouTube community that through yourself, Daniel Levy, has been so fractured and decimated because of your exploits, because of your dickhead ways. Well, now you're uniting them. So it's like you're still a black on blind date, mate. You are just reuniting people, and we're getting stronger and stronger. So, Daniel Levy, if I'm going to give you a well done for anything, well done for reuniting people that want the same thing.
He's a humanitarian. That's what he is. Come on.
He's going to Greenpeace next. He's going to Greenpeace.
Well, look, let's jump in. First of all, you know me, I do bite. First of all, Lava-Matic, you can come at me all you want. Sava doesn't now want Levy out. Sava's wanted Levy out since 2007. So good try, but not going to quite rattle my bones, I'm afraid, my man. Listen, put your comments in. Please note that any super chats, 50% does go to the British Heart Foundation. Any questions, please put them in and we'll see what we can do. Look, let's start, guys. Obviously, YouTube's great at the moment for Spurs content because the club is the gift that keeps giving. I think to a man, most of the fan base, including me, thought that Arne Slot looked like it was a great fit for Spurs, a young manager, wouldn't cost a lot, wouldn't want £70 million signings. And this hasn't got over the line. Slot is now saying that it was never going to happen. The talks yesterday were always about renewal at Feyenoord. But, guys, we're literally 4 or 5 days to the end of the season. 3 days to the end of the season. No manager, no director of football. Kane's contract to sort out. Loan players coming back. My question, I'll start with you still. Forget league position. Have you ever seen the club run this badly? Forget where we are in the league, just in terms of all of the above that I mentioned. Have you seen us run this badly?
Yeah, the 90s. So when people disagree with my view about ENIC and Levy, and they say to me, "Oh, don't you remember what the 90s were like? Look where he's taken us from." My answer now is, We're there. We're there now. This is the 90s, guys. The difference was we won 2 trophies in the 90s. So we're back there again. We're hovering around mid-table. The football's rubbish. We've got no direction. We've got so many problems that have manifested themselves into literally it's a dossier of problems. The season ends this Sunday, and then there's 8 to 9 weeks before the new season begins, because this season's a bit later because it's gone longer because of the World Cup. In 8 weeks, we need a manager, a football director, a plan, signings, assess the current squad, Harry Kane's contract, the 8 players coming back on loan. Next season, you can only loan out 6 players. We can't sell. There is so much that needs to be done. And when I look at the competition, Man City's Pep, Klopp's Liverpool, Poch's Chelsea, Eddie Howe's Newcastle, Arteta's Arsenal, De Zerbi's Brighton, Unai Emery at Villa. You look at all the competition. They've got their manager, they've got a squad, they're assessing, they're preparing. They'll be ready come August. We are in so much trouble. I can't believe how fans are just a bit blasé with this. So this is the worst I've seen it under Levy and ENIC, when you consider the money we've got, the stadium we've built, and the quality of strikers we've got. It's unbelievable. It's complete dereliction of duties by the chairman. And I've been banging on about it for 4 or 5 years. This is next level, though. This is next level of
Yeah, it does. I mean, look, Brian, you are of course a huge voice within the Levy out community, have been for many, many years.
Yep.
I think for me, what's worse than what we're seeing at the moment? Because look, clubs have dips, right? And I'm not going to sit here and pretend we're Liverpool or Man City or Chelsea. And clubs have dips, but sometimes when you have a dip as a club, you think, oh, it's all right. It's purely a blip, and next year we'll be back up there and everyone will be on form. I don't know about you, but I can only see this getting a hell of a lot worse before it gets better. And that's a real sobering thought, I think, for a lot of fans that have backed Levy for however many years when talking about, but look what he's done for us. Yep. I say, would you agree? I know you agree, but there you go. There's your comment.
So well, first of all, I'm just going to touch base on the things you were asking Stel, then I'll answer that. So first of all, and Stel can confirm this, I messaged him last night and said, this is done. It's over. The Arnie Slot thing. I messaged him and said, listen, I've heard it's done. It's over. It's not happening.
Called it last night.
I said to him, I messaged him last night and said, listen, and I know, so I didn't expect it to happen before 9 a.m. UK time for it to fall to pieces. But I had assurances it was going to full breakdown within 24 hours, and lo and behold, it did. You asked Stel, has there been a worse time? This Stel jumped to the 90s. Stel talks about the 90s. I'm going to say, has there been a worse time? Yes. Last summer, when we had 150 million to invest, because that's peanuts. I'll go back again. The season before, when there was another reason. The season before, when there was another reason. The season before. This has just been accumulating with every single season. It getting worse to where we are now. Sava, I think
is it worse though, Brian? Sorry, just quickly to jump in there. Is it worse though that, I mean, at least this time last year we'd ended the season on a high. Spirits were somewhat buoyant within the fan base. There were the talks of, do you remember there was the, oh my God, we've got the, what was it, the 250 million or 150 million, whatever it was. I can't even remember now, but they were going to chuck that money in and with player sales. And I felt like everyone was a bit positive. And this year it feels like we're going in completely different,
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming with that. But like you said, like you were saying about the peaks and troughs and whatever, do you know what? People will go, and they do make a beeline for Stella and I, for obvious reasons, because we've been saying this most predominantly on YouTube more than anyone else since YouTube and this has come out. People will expect us to think that we get a new owner, and then all of a sudden life's a dream, that we win the league and we do this. No, my friend. I want new owners to come in, and then it gives me, Stel, and all the Spurs fans hope that we could be trying to achieve glory in Carabao Cups or FA Cups. It gives us belief that the manager will be listened to. It gives us optimism that the future could be brighter and we don't have to go through 22 years. There is a lot to fix at this football club. Even with new owners, even if they don't go gun-ho like Chelsea, Man City and other big spenders, they will have a blueprint of what they want to do. And with them coming, they get that time. Levy, ENIC have no time. There is no more time to say, okay, one more try. There is no more time to say, this time we're going to do it. There is no more time to say, okay, we're listening to you. You've had 23 years almost to do it. No one's believing you. I haven't for a long time, but more and more people, and with this news today, I keep referring to that straw that broke the camel's moment. Well, what we've witnessed today is going to be a lot of people straw that broke the camel's back. Sean Butler said it today. Big up to Sean. You know what? With Sean, and we know how he has stood on it, whatever. For him to come on air and say it and now be talking about it shows it doesn't matter how long it takes you to change. There's going to be a time you change. So now with these managers coming in, I just want to say big up to Sue Smith, who I haven't seen for a bit. But when this new owners come in, it wipes away 23 years of hurt or acceptance of what we're going to do. It'll bring you hope, joy, optimism, belief. Yeah, and that's huge.
No, absolutely. Stel, listen, let me just quickly come to you. Listen, I just want to say there's a lot of people in my chat, right? And I get this all the time talking about Conte. Right, let me just say for the record, I don't know how many times I have to say this. If people think that this is all about Antonio Conte, where have you been for the last 23 years? My point from the get-go was that Antonio Conte was never going to be the right man with the way we are run as a club. I can put my dislike of a manager's style behind me if it's working at a club that works, i.e. when he went to Chelsea, sprinkled some stardust, won. We've got to move on. This is not about Conte. This is not about Jose. This is not about Poch. This is bigger than that. So I think we need to, move on from that. Stel, look, obviously Arne Slot's turned us down. A lot of people were liking him in terms of the work that he's done. We've already been turned down by Nagelsmann, even though the rumours are starting to come back about that. Considering it's season ticket renewal time in about 6 days. Where do we go from here? Is there, I know the answer, is this gonna force them into action to maybe try and go and rescue the Poch situation or throw whatever they need to in front of Nagelsmann? Or are we going to end up with Ryan Mason, Brendan Rodgers? Is that what we're going to be going through?
It's exactly what we're going to go through. There's no plan. There's no plan. Okay. The people I know at Spurs have all pretty much told me it's not a good working environment at the moment. It's not a good working environment at Spurs. Okay, so that's people that I know within the club. Jose Mourinho has come out today. I mean, his timing is superb. And he said that I'm going to read it.
As if he knew what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
And he's come out in an interview and he said, the only club in my career where I don't still have a deep feeling with is Tottenham. So he's just putting the dagger right through. So the problems are so much more than a manager that whoever comes in for me is gonna fail. I have no faith in whoever comes in. Even if we bring in Nagelsmann now, it will be a panic move. We won't properly back him, and he won't get to sell the kind of players he wants. He'll be forced to keep either Sanchez or Dyer. He'll have to have one of them. Some nonsense like that. And I know there's no plan because when you sacked Conte, you should have had the next guy ready to come in. You had a week to sort it out. You put in Stellini. You sack Stellini, you go to the one guy that always says, yes, sir, whatever you want, sir, Ryan Mason. Just the ultimate yes man. And we know what that... Last time he took control, we finished 7th. This year, he's going to finish 7th, 8th or 9th. So you know what you're getting with him is happening again. There's no plan, not even to bring in a Redknapp for like 10 games. Just steady the ship. Mm-hmm. We were 4th with Conte. Bring in someone and keep us in a top 4 battle. Try. They've literally ripped up any hope we've had and said, there goes your season. And they've sabotaged the season by putting Stellini and Mason in. There is no plan because they don't know what they want. They're just trying. They think by bringing in a new manager, he can work with some of the players, maybe be allowed to get rid of a few, give him kind of ish, maybe not sure what he wants, and then expect him to get us back into the top four. But what's happened now is, and I said it when I first spoke on the show when we started, if you look at the competition and their managers, they are set, they are ready, they know what they're doing. It's not just about a manager. We are up against the biggest challenge we've had. When Poch was good, we had to deal with Leicester and maybe a Chelsea. One season we had to deal with, I think, Arsenal and Chelsea. When Redknapp was there was one or two teams we were fighting with. Now there's 6 or 7 that have caught us. You've always had 3 or 4 that are better than us. Now another 2 or 3 have overtaken us. We're in deep trouble because they're better. They've got a plan. We don't know what we want, so we don't know what we're supposed to be doing each season as a milestone to get to the final outcome because we don't know what that outcome is. And our thinking as a club is a manager can sort it all out. No. We're talking about data analytics. How? Like Brian said it yesterday to me. How can you talk about data analytics when the football director and chief officer aren't here? Surely it's their decision if we're going to do that. How can you appoint a manager if you don't know who the football director is? There is no plan. So for me, whatever we do now is a panic move to appease the fans, or they're just going to take a Hail Mary shot at trying to fix what they've done now. It's gone too deep. Levy needs to step down for me, or just step away, my man. Football is not for you, right? But yeah, Sava, answer your question. I think Rodgers, Mason, or what's his name, Potter will come in.
I mean, look, look, it is tough times, and I think some of the stuff, and look, this isn't and I told you so, but I think a lot of us were saying this still back years and years and years ago, even during the Poch era when we were second. And I remember saying, I'm worried, and people were like, oh, but you're negative, you just don't like Poch. And I was like, no. I'm worried that there's nothing coming up behind, that there's no plan. And I think what we're seeing now is a byproduct of years and years of not running the club well. It was all right when you had Hugo Lloris in his peak. You had Son in his peak, Kane in his peak, Toby, Jan, Dembele. I think now that 11 has been broken up because of age, because of selling them, whatever it may be. We're now seeing that the years of not having a consistent director of football, the years of not having good scouts, no plan, no strategy, has led us to where we are now. And a lot of people said, oh, you'll see, when we get in the new stadium, it will be different, we'll be better. But Brian, off the back of everything I've just said there, what's our expectations? But off the back of what Stel just said there, in terms of we're going into the season starting in 10 weeks, if we want to look at it like that, 9-10 weeks without a manager, a director of football. We don't know which players are coming, which players are going. Is it Levy who wants them to sign new contracts? How many contracts are we going to rip up? What's it going to be like with the homegrown quota? What's the best we can hope for next year? Because it's certainly not a trophy or top 4, is it?
No, the best we can hope for, Brian. The best we can hope for is finishing bottom of the top half. I'm being deadly sure that will be
10th, 11th.
Yeah, that well, 11th. You're in the bottom half, but you're top of the bottom half. We don't know. Well, the Spurs, there's part of our fan base will say we're top of the league.
Well, at least let us win that. Let us win. Let us win the bottom half of the league.
Yeah, I mean, there's see, there you go. That's the expectation. that's where it is. But no, you look at it, and I heard Stel mention what he just did on Tottenham away when he said also. You look at this as well, the youth setup. Who knows what the hell is going on here right now? This summer, as Stel said expertly just for Tottenham away, we have got the most to do with no one about to do it, and they're going to have the least amount of time to do it. This is where we've actually sunk to. You look at it. It just. I spoke about as well when I was when they were talking about ripping up contracts. When Paul O'Keefe said this about ripping up contracts, people were like, "Oh, wicked! Yes, we're getting rid of some of the deadwood. Brilliant, wicked." Yeah, well, we have to replace that deadwood with quality, And we need to buy quality now to even influence them. So if you get rid of two defenders, let's just say it's two defenders we rip up, two central defenders. We already need two defenders with them there. Yeah. With them gone, you need more. We need before you even talk about anything, we need one goalkeeper and at least three decent central defenders. That's before you talk about anything else. Plus,
the money's not going to be there either, Brian.
No,
the money's not going to be there either.
No. And then they'll say, "Oh, because we haven't got European football, so we can't." Mate, I can tell you now, what this is happening as well. Guarantee it. Nike are probably fuming because they have certain criteria they expect for the money they pay. They want to see the Champions League badge logo on their shirts. They expect to be resembling a team that matches their eliteness in the sporting world. You have sponsors that pay loads and loads and loads of money to have their sponsors at the club, and they have it based on European football, the brand of football or the club that we are. They ain't going to be happy. And as for corporates, I know already for a fact of five corporate clients that are leaving Tottenham Hotspur this season because for them that they're not Tottenham fans. Some of them may be, but those corporate lounges and corporate passes are there so they can wine and dine and show their clients a good time. Oh, you're a Spurs fan? Come, I've got a box. Let's go. They'll just walk down the road. They'll just walk down the road to Arsenal, West Ham, Chelsea, wherever it may be. We're going to be losing money hand over fist just through revenue streams. These extra revenue streams, these additional revenue streams. Then it'll be like, well, I want nothing to do with this club.
Yeah,
I'm gone. It's just a downward spiral. It's just a downward spiral.
It is indeed. Let me just quickly get to a few super chats. Before I get to the super chats, please, if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Tottenham Away for Stel. Subscribe to Tottenham on Tour for Brian Daigle. And Tottenham on Tour is the official home of the Spurs community's best ITK with Danny Kiriakou. So
Danny Kirimanu. Danny Kirimanu is what you've got to call him.
Big up, Danny. Please get over there and subscribe to everyone. Everyone's going to be busy, I'm sure, for you all summer putting together content. Perchi has said, much love, everyone. Right now, sticking together is the way we can get the change we want. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's just all be a bit nicer to each other, people. We're all Spurs fans at the end of the day. Phil P, with that funny picture, has said, Bill Nick must be turning in his grave. I reckon... Phil, I don't think Bill Nick would even be turning his grave. I reckon if he wasn't already dead, we've killed him again with what he's seeing at this football club. And Connor Cunningham has come in, thank you very much, and said, so more proof of a poorly run team. Tottenham still hasn't locked in the stadium naming rights deal they've been working on for years. Wrexham just signed a deal. Their owners are decisive and competent. Absolutely, Connor. It's been one... shit show to another, to be honest. Still, look, I want to talk about managers coming in now, because doesn't matter what we want, we have to have a manager, right? We are going to have a manager, and this was 10 minutes before we came on air. So by now, there's probably another 3 managers that have been added to these odds, but this was 10 minutes before we came on. That the odds are Ange Postecoglou at 7-2. Brendan Rodgers at 9-2, Nagelsmann at 8, Enrique's at 9, Potter at 12, Ruud van Nistelrooy at 14-1, Ruben Amorim at 16s, and Julian Lopetegui of Wolves at 16s as well. Now, if we take the top 3 there, still Postecoglou, Rodgers, and Nagelsmann. Out of those 3. Who is the best place to come to Spurs? Who is going to work best with Levy, and how disappointed are you with that front 3? So there it is again.
Postecoglou, Nagelsmann,
Rodgers, and Nagelsmann.
So I think the biggest quality the next manager is going to have is to handle pressure, because it's going to be such a pressurized job from the office. Because the media are all over us. The fans are at breaking point. All the YouTube podcasts, all they talk about now is like, Levy and Enoch, get more coverage than any other chairman or ownership you've ever heard of, and we win nothing. So they're going to have to deal with a lot of pressure. And if they come in and they lose the first three, draw, lose, it's just gonna kick off. You know it is. It's already at that breaking point. So they need to handle pressure. So for me, Brendan Rodgers is a no. He can't handle it. Not at the level we're going to be at.
Do you not think, just to quickly interject there and just playing devil's advocate here, do you not think that is absolutely a fantastic hire in the eyes of Daniel Levy? Forget what we think as fans. Doesn't he tick every box? Prem experience, not going to cost anything. I mean, doesn't that tick the boxes for Mr. Levy?
Well, I thought Poch ticked all the boxes for him, and I thought we ticked all the boxes for Poch, but we never spoke to him. So I don't know what Daniel Levy's thinking, Sava, if I'm honest. I have no idea where his head's at. Yeah, as a Levy signing, yeah, it probably does tick a lot of boxes. But you asked me who I think is the best fit. I think Nagelsmann too demanding, and rightly so, because he's a man of ambition and expectation. Rightly so. I've got no issue with a man being demanding, but that won't fit Spurs. So out of those three, I think Postecoglou. He's a good manager, Postecoglou, but again, doing it in Australia, it all depends on the first set of results. In Australia, he was really good, but that's Australia. Scotland's Scotland. If you manage Rangers or Celtic, you're halfway there. You're halfway there, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
This is like I said, Pep, Unai, Klopp, Poch, Eddie Howe. There's a lot of heavyweights in the league now. You're really, really up against it. I mean, can he come in and go head to head with them, toe to toe? The only good thing with Postecoglou is with Nagelsmann, there's immediate high expectation from him. With Brendan Rodgers, there's a lot of fear because Leicester in a relegation battle and it didn't quite work out at Liverpool. With Postecoglou, that's why another reason why I liked Arne Slot. He comes with a clean slate. There's no baggage with him. There's not too much history for us to say, but he did that there and he did this there. So I think Postecoglou, and that comment just there, Luis Enrique, no way. He's going to need so many technical Spanishy type players that we're not going to.
Is he in the Conte Jose mold in terms of he's experienced the upper echelon? Well, I'd say the upper echelons. This is a man that's won titles and Champions Leagues. This is again for me. I don't know what you guys think. This for me is again another manager that's going to come in, and our fans more than anything will think, oh, we've got the top manager. He can work wonders and win us things, and he'll come in and be like, what am I working with? None of these boys will be able to play the tick attacker that Enrique wants to play.
No chance we get that. The other thing as well, Sam, with Enrique is, what did he do after he left Barca? Did he achieve anything after that?
God, he did. He had a little stint at Roma, I believe.
I don't think he was successful after Barca.
No, I mean he got the Spanish team playing really well, but look. Yeah. I think for me, again, Brian, I'll bring you in here. I mean, if we look at those three names, we'll come to the ones a bit below in a bit. I mean, could there be an argument? I'm playing devil's advocate before everyone shouts at me in the chat. Could there be an argument that, and Spurs fans, cover your ears like this at the moment, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, that Spurs aren't a big club anymore, Brian, and we have fallen so far away that maybe a Brendan Rodgers is actually our level now. We're all talking about top managers, but look at the squad. Look at the academy. No naming rights, poor scouting, clear out needed. Are we going to do better than a Brendan Rodgers?
So do you know what? I've made a rule of this that I said it on the show last week. I don't even bother getting into these discussions. I will do now because it's you, and you've asked so nicely. You've asked so nicely, and it's look at the three of us. So if there's going to be a time where I know answer it, it's look at the three we got on here. And the reason I say I haven't been answering it is because there's absolutely no point in it, because we'll be talking about this in a year's time, going, oh, why didn't this work out? Maybe there is no point. Whilst this guy is in charge, this thing will keep. There'll be no change. So I keep saying it doesn't matter if we get Klopp and Guardiola in to joint manage. They still won't get Champions League football at this team because they wouldn't be listened to and respected. But where you're going with this, with Brendan Rodgers, listen, that guy has had a lot to do with, all right, they haven't been back, but he's a lot to do with why Leicester are in this predicament they're in. So this is what attracts Tottenham to get a guy that's almost got a team relegated. Don't get me wrong, if we'd gone for him after he left at Liverpool, when he'd almost taken them to a title, then things weren't working out, you'd be like, okay, do you know what? He's doing bits.
Yeah.
If it had been after Leicester won the FA Cup, once Leicester won the FA Cup, his stock's up there.
Would you say, sorry, Brian, just to interject there, sorry, as the point comes into my head, don't you think that's exactly the same right now as somebody else who was on that list, but a little bit further down at 8s, I believe, or 16s or whatever it was? Isn't that the same with Potter? Had Potter not had that stint at Chelsea, which was
correct,
a poison chalice, so to speak.
Yep.
At that time, a lot of Spurs fans were saying, yeah, I'd have Potter. Potter's a good coach. He's good for what we need.
Yep.
Is he not still a good manager that would be good for where we are right now?
Do you know what? But you got to look, Graham Potter. It took him 3 years to get where he was at Brighton. The first year he did well at Ostersund's, then went to Swansea, did good at Swansea, moved to Brighton. For the first year and a half was very, very touch and go, like was what they were used to. And then over the last 18 or the start of this season, the end of last season, you can see bits and pieces starting to click.
Yeah.
We ain't got 3 years. Brendan Rodgers, one thing I will say Brendan Rodgers has done, like when he went to Leicester, when he went to Celtic, when he went to Liverpool, he does automatically get the teams shooting up in the right direction. He does seem to have that impact.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I mean, since this has happened, we've been linked with Nagelsmann, Bundesliga winner, terrific manager, doing a lot everywhere. No, we haven't spoken to him, but apparently we have told him what director of football to get, but we haven't spoken to him. But we have told him what that. So that make of that what you will. We go for Arne Slot, a guy that's just won Eredivisie and is doing good things. A young. No, we can't have that. We will go for a guy that has almost got a team relegated or played a big part in a team getting relegated. This is what we have become. Instead of being the Tottenham Hotspur job is available and people will be like, oh, pick me, I'm interested. I want to come and manage Tottenham. We've now become. Tottenham have to whore themselves out and walk down a street corner going, oh, we'll pay you this amount of money to do it. Please come. We'll pay you 15 million. We'll pay you this. Listen, whatever man. If by some chance, and Sean said this right, if Nagelsmann comes back, if he's back on the table, if it does, which it won't, and we took him, it's only because Daniel Levy's been backed into a goddamn corner. He's like, oh shit, I've done it again. I'm now going to need to pay this guy a stupid amount of wages to get him into the football club, and that's what we need to. We whore ourselves out. That's what we do now. We only managers that want to come now is if we give them all of that. But then when it comes to the actual doing stuff on the football pitch, oh no, we spent some of your transfer money bringing you in here. You have to work with this. Make these better.
Yeah, look, the whole thing. Do you know how I know I'm on a Spurs YouTube channel, by the way? Is the fact that there's 478 people in here and only 74 likes. That is Levy FC right there. Come on, guys, smash the likes. Please subscribe to Tottenham Away. Subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Subscribe to as many Spurs YouTubers as possible. Different insights doesn't always mean it's bad. It's different. Stel, let me come to you. Look, there we got Danny. We've got the full ENIC out, Levy out fan club all in one room. This is going to be exciting.
ITK.
It's Danny Kirimanu.
Danny, I'll come to you in a minute. Stel, if I continue to look down that list, there's now people. Sorry, let me turn that comment off. There's now people that we're seeing on this now, like Ruud van Nistelrooy, who left PSV yesterday. You got Ruben Amorim of Sporting Lisbon, Potter at 12, Julian Lopetegui at 16-1. I mean, any of them tickle your fancy, or any of them forget actually tickling your fancy? Any of them that would come in and steady the ship?
I'm brutally honest. I messaged Ben at Tottenham TV back in March. I said to him, Ben, if Conte goes, the manager I want is Arne Slot, because I knew Poch wasn't coming back. I just never believed Poch was coming back. Nagelsmann, I would have bitten your hand off for, but I just didn't believe that Nagelsmann would buy into this bullshit. So when I heard people talking about the guy at Frankfurt and Ruben Amorim at Lisbon, I looked into them and I had a little search around Europe, what's going on. I came across Arne Slot in February, and then I did my homework on him, and I thought, you know what, this is the guy for us. And I messaged Ben. He called me up the other day. Mate, do you remember what you said to me in the text message? He re-messaged it to me. I went on their show. I did a breakdown of Arne Slot. For me, I had my heart set on Arne Slot. Once it was confirmed Poch and Nagelsmann isn't happening. So now we're not getting him. I couldn't give two shits, Saba. I really couldn't care less.
So it's that bad.
Whoever comes in now for me, I just see it as a disaster.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one off that list of the bottom, it would be the Amorim. If I had to.
Yeah, I mean, Danny, let me come to you. And just quickly before we do, in the chat, please, as we said, subscribe to Tottenham on Tour, subscribe to Tottenham Away, subscribe to Football Heritage TV, and please smash that like button. I'll give you something to talk about in the chat as well. Let me know in the chat, are any of these managers of interest to you? Somebody sent me a list of all the managers that are out of work at the moment. Okay, so, and I'm sure there's more, but you've got Graham Potter, Joachim Low, the ex-Germany manager, Luis Enrique, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Marcelo Gallardo, who I know Danny's a big fan of, Brendan Rodgers, Zinedine Zidane, and Julian Nagelsmann.
I want Zinedine Zidane to come as a bloody player, let alone bloody manager now.
Can he come and headbutt Levy?
Yeah. Can you imagine Zidane in the hole behind Kane? Danny, look, we spoke briefly earlier on a channel about... I'm still seeing fans in the chat saying that the minimum expectation for next year is qualifying for Europe or winning a League Cup. Or Danny, we're not. Like, I don't know about you. And look, you guys have all known me long enough. I've been on the train of needing to win trophies for ages. I'm so far from that school of thought, Danny, at the moment of winning a trophy. I just want Spurs to get back to basics and actually have a 1 to 11 that can play competent football. Do these fans need to rein it in a bit and realise that we are going that way and fast?
Yeah, they have to understand it, Sarah, because if they don't, right, they're going to raise expectations so much more than what they already expect, and then what you'll see is as soon as the manager comes in and is trying to build something, the first sight of him getting a couple of losses in a row or something like that, they're like, right, we want the manager gone. He's not good enough. You know what's going to happen, and then it starts putting pressure on the manager and all this kind of thing. They're not going to give the time to that manager to come in and build what's going to take a couple of years to build, right? With any kind of manager you want to go with that has a direction, that wants to have a plan to build a young squad, play good football, exciting football, entertain the fans. And that's the biggest problem for me, I think, is that I think there's two elements to it. You've got one that is Levy going to give, or the owner's going to give the manager time, and are the fans going to give a manager time? Personally, I don't really care. In my opinion, I want a manager to come in to have 2 or 3 years to build the foundations of this football club again, because
I agree.
At the moment, there's absolutely nothing. The club is in an absolute mess. Earlier on, they had a tweet out, right? After this Arne Slot details came out, there was a tweet on the Tottenham Twitter account, right? They had a picture of Kulusevski. You might have seen it, Sav, with the Monster energy drink coming out of a car, and it says the Monster Experience, and then they deleted it, right? They took it off Twitter, and it's like they come out with this news, and the first thing they want to do is advertise a Monster energy drink experience. I mean,
yeah.
It honestly blows your mind, the stuff that keeps happening over and over again. For me, in terms of the manager situation, like I still want Gallardo, but I know that's not going to happen, right? I mean, I think I was sold on Arne Slot when I also have watched his football this season. I did even more research than what I already knew about him, and I thought, like Stel, I thought he was the guy I think would be perfect for Spurs. In terms of the one thing you want at this moment, what we need is someone to come in and unite everyone, like just have everyone on board the same train, right? And I think he was the guy to do it. Like, you've got someone like Brendan Rodgers. I think there's he's never going to unite a fan base, because as soon as you bring him in, you've already got half a fan base that don't want him, and you've got maybe a quarter of a fan base that does want him.
But Danny, is there let me ask you a question then, and for all of you. Does that manager exist now, though, that comes in and all of us collectively go, yeah, I like that?
I think,
because even with Slot, a lot of people wanted him, but I was still seeing people go, oh, well, he's only done it in the Dutch league. What's he going to do?
There's only one name on that list, right? And that's Nagelsmann. He's the only one that will probably, for everyone, will be like, oh, I can get on board that. Just because he's the big name. He's been at a big club. He's done pretty well at Bayern Munich, considering that as soon as he got sacked, they started losing games and they got out of every competition. Yeah, and for me, look, I think he's the biggest name. So there is still that option if they go and get a director of football that suits Nagelsmann or has the same philosophies as him. Like that's still a possibility. But I just think we look, for me, I would still like to see someone like Marcelo Gallardo, because I think I think his values of what he represents is the same as similar to what Arne Slot's values are in terms of his man management, his tactical flexibility, the way he manages people, the way he plays football is very exciting front foot football. But again, I think someone like him, you can see at the moment that there seems to be a collective kind of feeling in terms of the footballing world that they're not really giving him that go in Europe just yet, or someone hasn't taken the courage to take the plunge to give him the job. And I don't think Tottenham will. I just don't think they will. So
let me ask then, Brian, with all this in mind, and I know loads of Spurs fans will click this and tell me I'm not a real Spurs fan and I don't really care. Isn't it absolutely fundamental that this weekend we do not beat Leeds and secure Conference League? Because I'm looking at this at the moment and thinking, what an utter shambles. I can only imagine what it will be like to try and build a squad, rip it up in one summer with a new manager, a new director of football, and be playing Thursday nights in all these far-flung places in Europe. Don't we just need to get out of that and concentrate on the league for a year?
So it's Southampton, Wolves, Sheffield United, Villa. 4 places where we've choked and fallen apart. Newcastle, let's chuck in there. Look what happened at Newcastle. We all know how passionate and hostile the Geordies can make it. For me, the best away day there is in this country. I love that club. I love that stadium. I'm so happy to see Newcastle back in the Champions League, especially after a year with these new owners who showed us it can be done the right way. It's not about spending hundreds of millions. Forget the political part. What Newcastle have done as a club in the past, 18 months they've had the club, it's brilliant. It's inspiring. It's something to look forward to and be refreshed. Now, getting to Leeds. People think Newcastle is hostile. I've been to Ellen Road many a time. If Tottenham Hotspur had the choice of last game of the season and said, right, we don't want to go to a hostile place, we don't want to go to a place where it's going to be very, very vocal and volatile, and we don't want to be going to a place where they'll be absolutely fighting for their Premiership survival, Ellen Road would be right at the top of that list. These players are going to crumble. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you now, Spurs lose to Leeds.
I'm fully expecting for them to come out and run all over us, if I'm honest.
This isn't a headline, it's a spoiler. I am telling you now, it's what Paul Heyman says for anyone watches WWE still.
Put a bet on Leeds to score 4 or more at home,
mate,
yeah?
Put a bet on Leeds to score in the first 10 minutes, because that's what we like to do when we go away in the last 3 games. Another great record to have. We are going to fold like a deck of cards at Leeds. We are absolutely the most exciting thing I'm looking for Leeds is I know what some of our Levy out crowd and other people have got planned for Ellen Road. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to. They will follow through. They will do what we need. They will be heard like the away fans do. I wish our team, our players, our club operated like the away fans did, like the international fan base did. But no, this team are going to fold like a deck of cards, and then people will be going, oh, brilliant, that season's over. We can toss it in the bin. We go again next season. Well, in between, oh, this season's over and we go again next season, we've got the summer of bullshit. We've got the summer of bullshit coming where all the links will come out, everything's going to come out, and nothing will happen again. And then the only thing that will happen, people think at the end of the season, because it's the end of the season, the protests stop. Oh, no, they don't. Oh, no, they don't. Stay tuned, because there's a big summer coming from us. A bigger summer coming from us than there is the bloody club.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Stel, where are you at with all this?
What, the manager?
No. In terms of Europe, I mean, for me, I've said even if we manage to beat Leeds, I think it would be horrible, and I don't ever want to sit here and see my team lose. But I'd be happy to not win or draw. Do you know what I mean?
It's like the
I want Europe. I want Europe.
You want it, yeah?
Yeah. I'm one of the fans. I do want it, because I think that as much as I can't stand the board and the owners, and as much as these group of players stink, I still want to see Tottenham in Europe, because I feel that I get the rebuild and I get the whole idea of starting again, but I just don't think that's what's going to happen, because I don't believe for 1 second this ownership's going to tolerate being mid-table for a couple of years whilst we go through that, call it what you want, journey, process, rebuild, reset. I do not believe they're going to stick to it, and I don't think the rebuild is coming, because that means we've got to go through more pain, if we're going to be honest. But I do think Harry Kane will need to be sold in that process as well. And I just don't think this ownership's got the minerals for it. So for me, I think.
But can I ask what the alternative? Like when we use words like rebuild, and aren't we at a position where we've got no choice, right? We don't have anything at this club. We've got to build from the ground up,
I agree.
Right?
So this is the thing, right? When Arsenal got rid of Wenger and they brought in Unai, then they got rid of him, then they brought in Ljungberg, and then they went for that merry-go-round, then they got Arteta. Before they brought Arteta in, they clearly, as a club, said, we've got a problem, right? We have to admit we have a problem, and it's us. Us. They brought in Edu, Vinay, Josh, Kroenke's son stepped in. They put a team together. So, right, Arteta's our man. They did their interview process, and they said, right, what's it going to take? How much money? How are we going to do it? And they put the wheels in motion. But the first thing they did was to accept there's a problem. That's why he never got sacked when all the fans wanted him gone. Maybe COVID played a part in it, stadium being closed and all that. But they stood by him, man. And even when he choked and bottled top four, or maybe you could say it's because they never had a striker, whatever the reason, when they never got top four to us, that's the most painful thing that could have happened to them. They still went and splashed the money and went for it and got the players for the positions he needed. So they've clearly stood by him because they agreed that there was a problem. I don't think our owners have accepted there's a problem, because if they had, we would have seen a new committee in by now. We would have seen the manager in by now. We would have seen the plan to start building for next season already. But because we haven't, I don't think they've accepted there's a problem. So I agree, a rebuild needs to happen. A reset, I agree, it has to happen. But this ownership hasn't convinced me that they think that. So I think we need to get top. We need to get Europe, so that we've got somewhere that we can actually compete in. Because I think the Conference League is our level. That's the best hope we've got of anything next season.
Can I make a point after you?
Yeah. Just quickly though, when Brendan Rodgers is doing that with the Conference League, can we all remember this moment, right? That Stel predicted it. Yeah, Brendan Rodgers giving it one of them ones, running around the stadium. Look, on a serious note, Danny, I'll come to you in 1 second.
I don't want Brendan Rodgers. I don't want Brendan Rodgers.
Guys, no, joking. Guys, there's 545 of you in the chat. Doesn't anyone have a job? Why is no one working? Never mind. Please smash the like button. There's only 138 likes versus 522 people. Let's not be tight. Go to Tottenham on Tour and subscribe. Go to Tottenham Away and subscribe for Stel, Will, and Iggy and the boys. And please, if you haven't, if all 523 of you have subscribed to me, then great. If you hasn't, smash the subscribe button as we gear towards the 6,000 mark. Danny, I'll come to you in 1 second. I just want to address one comment.
Go for it.
I love this. I absolutely love that people can see the absolute shit show at our club and then turn around and say things to me like, Sava, be positive for once. Aren't you seeing the ambition of the Spurs? going for top managers. We will eventually get a good manager and we'll be back fighting for the title next season. I need whatever this guy or girl is smoking, because I'm not seeing us go for top managers. I'm seeing us mess about and not get anyone over the line. And I can't remember the last time we were fighting for a title. So I really like that you think we're going to be in a title race next year. But I just, listen, clip this. If I'm wrong and we win the league next year, cool. But I can't
this is the thing. I could say I'm going to look at a Lamborghini
showroom. We're going to win the Conference League.
I can go looking at a Lamborghini in a showroom. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. It'll make me positive to go see it. I ain't going to buy it. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
You've got the person that left that comment, and Daniel vouched for it, because me and Danny were on a show a couple of years ago when Antonio Conte was getting rumoured just before season ticket renewal deadline. We said, watch. As soon as the deadline goes, this deal falls through. Within an hour of the stream, the deadline went past, and guess what happened? The deal fell through the first time, and this is exactly what's happening again. Nagelsmann, all slot. Isn't it amazing how that slot deal really started gathering pace on Friday, the day before the biggest protest we had planned in the final home game of the season, where he knew it was going to be toxic? Let's just drop that little bit of news in, all things are happening, and then once that's gone, I've said it on all the channels I've gone on today. Thank you, Arne Slot, for coming out and saying no, rather than playing ball and dragging it out past June 1st. Well done, Arne Slot.
Yeah. David did just quickly this comment. I feel like the panel I have assembled for today's show are completely the wrong audience for a comment such as below. I think I'm right in saying that, lads, or does anyone agree with said comment?
I'd just like to add one thing to what David said.
Sarcasm. Go.
David, you say that Arsenal have just recovered from building the Emirates. What you're not considering is the revenues nowadays compared to the revenues of when they build are completely different. The money we earn from TV, the money we earn from our stadium, the money we generate is completely different to when the Emirates first built, which is why we've been able to spend £500 million since that stadium has been built. Arsenal couldn't do that. So it's not about the stadium build or the facilities, although it looks good. That's not the problem. We have mismanaged £500 million from poor recruitment, poor scouting, poor football directors, not sticking by one manager, chopping and changing strategy and style of play. All of that, those decisions were made by above. They picked those people. They chose to get rid of them and change them. The fact Ryan Mason is manager of Tottenham Hotspur right now, the sixth biggest club in this country, apparently. How do you put that on the Emirates Stadium and what Arsenal had to go through? Like, that is a Levy decision. He could have brought in Redknapp. He could have brought in anyone but a 31-year-old. I can't do it.
I think we all agree. Look, Danny, sorry, mate. I know you wanted to make a comment on that. And off the back of your comment, if you could also answer for me, are we dangerously getting into Ryan Mason being appointed territory?
So I'll just make my point and I'll answer.
Yeah,
that,
go
on.
Right? So,
just to add into what you guys are saying about Europe, I think with Europe, I actually think as much as I see Stell's point in terms of it's good for us to have Europe. Do you know what? I couldn't stomach it if West Ham go on to win this Conference League and we go into it next season and they're going to the Europa League, and knowing the way we are in terms of how our club's mentality is not to focus on trophies, we're just going to get knocked out by like some team we've never heard of before. I mean, some of the names I saw in that Conference League the last 2 years, it just makes you laugh, and I couldn't.
As Henry Wright would say, like their Wi-Fi password codes, aren't they?
They are. They're literally Wi-Fi password codes.
But Danny, we can't beat Bournemouth at home, so that's our level.
No, I know, but this is what I'm saying. Like, so
that's our level.
But that's what I mean. That if you think we can't beat Bournemouth at home, how are we going to beat these Wi-Fi password teams that we've never heard of? They're like partly plumbers or partly like mechanics or whatever, and they go and beat us in a game of football because we don't care about it. Because let's face it, the reality is the squad that we have right now and the current mentality of the culture of the club, they're not going to give a shit about playing some Sunday league team or some half semi-professional team, right? It's just not going to happen, whatever it is. So for me personally, I just don't want Europe at all, just because I think we need to have 1 year with just no European football. So whoever the manager is can have a single week to train the players and try to implement his style and his tactics and the way he wants to play football, rather than have the distractions of, like Sam said, going to a country so far away that it's just going to cause more problems than it's worth. There's more potential risk of injuries, more potential risk of fatigue, and all this kind of stuff. And also, you need a big enough squad, right, to deal with that. With our injury issues that we've had over the years, our diabolical medical team we have, I just don't think it suits us right now. I think we need to just literally get back to the fundamentals of what a football club is. Get back to the basics of having the foundations in every department sorted first before we can even think about competing in a European competition. I just think we're going to be a laughing stock again if we go into another European competition.
But Danny, on the flip side, on the flip side, you get the opposite end of the spectrum where Arsenal fans were saying, "Oh, we're out of all the competitions. We've got bigger fish to fry," and they put all the eggs into one basket, and look what happened. I think you need to hedge your bets a bit. I think you need to be in Europe, or if we take Europe seriously, I'm all for it. If we're going to use Europe as some kind of it's there, then I'm with you guys. There's no.
But have we got the only question I would say at the moment is, have we got the squad for it? Because at the moment, I can't even see us putting out a good 11 in Premier League games. No. I just wonder if we can do the 11 on the Sunday. Then when it comes to Thursday, we've got 4 or 5 players to rotate.
I wouldn't focus on the league, Sava. I wouldn't focus on the Premier League because we're not going to win it, and we're not going to get top 4. So.
Fair.
But that's what you want, still. That's not what the club want. That's the difference.
No, you're right. Yeah. But Levy's not going to get top 4. Levy's not going to get what he wants.
But what he wants is that top 4. So it all comes down to what fans want and what the club want. And like you said earlier on in your stream, that at the end of the day, it's what they want. They will do what they want to do. And if they don't want to compete in those trophies, then why would they? All they care about is trying to get as maximum profit as possible by achieving the top 4.
But next year, right, guys, that look, do you know what? For years, we've all said that, right? All
top 5 next year, isn't it? Top 5.
Yeah.
Well, I'll change my statement then. For years, what we've said is top 4 is all Levy wants. And now it's going to be top 5. But look, even Daniel Levy must look at what we've got now in that squad and go, hang on, I can't hold my manager accountable for top 5 because there is nothing there to get top 5. There is this club is sinking fast. Yeah. And what I want to move that onto, as long as you're all good for time, what I want to move that onto is, where does this leave? And I know this debate has been done to death, but where does this leave Harold Edward Kane? Like, he must be sitting there going, why am I going to sign here? Like, this is, and I don't want to hear Premier League goal scoring records. Look at the shambles he's playing with. Sorry, it gets me angry.
Yeah, I'm going to go because I said this. There's a few days before the Nagelsmann saga or whatever you want to call it came out, where he did another interview and everyone's like, oh, it feels like he's going to stay. It feels like he's going to stay. He's talking right. He's saying the right things. And one of them was, I will sit down with Levy to see where this club is going. Then Nagelsmann came and went in whatever fan, and the club tried to spin it. And no matter who you are, try to tell me it's nothing but spin, saying that we turned him down. Do me a goddamn favour. There was even a quote saying that we decided that he needed more time away from football to recover from whatever he's going through. I was like, yeah, well done, Tottenham. We've now become a team that are telling a club that tell managers, take a bit more time off. You need to recuperate. And then go. No, that happened. Then all these defeats kept coming. The players are fully aware of what Levy Out is doing and the scene we're creating and the balloons and everything he's fully aware. And then you've had this today. I don't care what anyone's saying. If he's, I personally think he's got. It's a case of if the number gets hit. I can't see. I would love Harry Kane to stay. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the greatest players this club has ever witnessed. Period. Throughout the entire team, club's history, he is right up there with the best and will be spoken about in that bracket for a long, long, long time to come. Now, even if you have, look, put it this way, if I was Harry Kane and I'm a diehard Spurs, I'll be saying, get me the hell out of here. Get me as far away from this club as humanly possible, because I want to win a trophy. I want to do things. For me, I think this leaves him. It's more of this. It's the embarrassment, Sava. It's the embarrassment. He has said, match my ambitions. Is Harry Kane's ambitions the Conference League or no Europe at all?
Yeah, I mean, still, where are you with this with Harry Kane? Because essentially, it doesn't matter what we want at the end of the day. What's going to happen is going to happen. But surely, if you're Harry Kane, you are getting your agent or brother or whatever, both, to draft up a transfer request to go into the Spurs board the day after or the minute the Leeds game finishes. Surely, aren't you?
I think it's the other way around. I think if you're Daniel Levy, you've got a trade-off. Either I sell him now, where I'm going to get the maximum amount I'm ever going to get for him now, and get that money, or I risk he goes on a free. And if he goes on a free, I end up with my most expensive asset giving me zero. But at the same time, I'll appease the fans because the fans will be happy that Harry Kane stays. So for me, it's the decision of, because even if Kane puts in a transfer request, the club can reject it. So I think Levy's going to say, do I take the money or do I keep the fans happy? And being the man that he is, he'll take the money and then there'll be an immediate statement that we're reinvesting it and we're going to buy boom, 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 boom. And maybe they get those players, maybe they don't. I for sure, I think Harry Kane is gone this summer. I don't think there's no extension of contract. I don't think he's going to run his contract down. And also, why risk playing another year of football and getting an injury, then missing out on that chance to go to that other club? Why would you play at 100% knowing that, just look after yourself, Harry, so you can get that next move? But he might run down his contract because then he can get a bumper salary elsewhere because they're not going to have to pay the transfer fee. And who's going to pay for him? Look, for me, I think Kane's gone. If he stays, I will wonder what it is he's trying to achieve in football.
No, listen, I completely got. Sorry, go on.
I just want to say one thing because you brought his 2 seconds because you brought his comment up, and if it is him, I want to say a big up to Jonas. If it's the Jonas I think it is, because Stel will know. I got a comment on the show me and Stel did
from Finland
that said I'm flying over to the protest from Finland. And true to word,
where's the comment?
It wasn't saying anything about it. If that's the Jonas I think it is,
he's a channel member.
If that's the Jonas I think it is, big up to him, because literally we were sitting there or standing there at the protest and he came up to me and went, Brian, I told you I'd be here. And not only did he fly over from Finland for this one, he flew over from Finland for the United one. And not only has he flown over from Finland for both of them, he stays with his family in Bognasodin Regis and then travels to the protest. So all I wanted to say is if that is that Jonas there, big up my brother, and you have no idea how much respect I have for you.
Brian, don't knock Bognor Regis. I'm there for a stag do in about 3 weeks.
Mate, I wasn't knocking it. I was saying that's how far he travelled.
You're in for a big shock, mate.
East 17 are there. DJ Luck and MC Neat, the Honeys.
It's
going off, mate. It's going off.
DJ Luck and MC Neat.
We know how Sava's might's going to turn out.
Yeah. And then we're. I won't say it in case he's watching, but then we're doing the Friday night and Saturday night there, and then Sunday morning flying off to somewhere for a couple more nights. Anyway, that'll probably kill me. Danny's had a night out with me. He knows how it goes.
Yeah.
Look, on a serious note, Danny, Harry Kane, right?
Yeah.
Stell's got a point. We all love Kane, right? He is one of the world's best strikers, has been for nearly a decade. But you do have to wonder about this man's mentality if he doesn't hand in a transfer request, don't you? I mean, take the Spurs hat off. Forget what we think of him.
Of course.
Surely his ambition needs to be questioned.
I thought he was going to hand in during that Man City saga, right? I thought that's when he wanted to go. I thought that was his time. You could see after that didn't go through that his head wasn't there anymore. And I think Conte kind of coming in like changed his mind a bit to think, oh, do you know what? I'm going to try and bed into what Conte wants to do, try and win something, but obviously it was never going to work out. I think he is checked out, but I think he knows there's an element of that. At the end of the day, it's still up to Levy to sell him, right? And I think there's probably part of him that probably believes that unless the club get a fee that's more than the market value of what Harry Kane's worth for a player who's 30 years old with 1 year left on his contract, I don't think he's going. And I think that he probably knows that it doesn't really matter what happens this summer, because at the end of the day, he could just do one more season here, right? And then he could just go to any club he wants, and then he'll probably demand a bigger transfer signing.
So do you think? Look, let's play the hypothetical game, right? Just before, and I always say before everyone shouts at me, Harry Kane turns around next week and says, "I have no interest in signing a new contract. I'm going to run my contract down." At that point, love him, hate him, whatever, Mr. Daniel Levy at that point surely has to turn around for the best interest of this club and say, "Right, this guy is on the transfer market." Surely you can't let him run down, and for the sake of 25 more goals next year, you can't let this guy go on a free. Surely.
The thing is, you could say that, right? But the thing is, like, as far as I'm aware for months and months and months, that unless they hit that magic number for what they deem as what they value Kane as to Tottenham, because you've got to remember that end of the day, what's his market value right now? Like, I don't know what his market value is. I don't know.
90? Would you say 90 would take him?
So to Tottenham, what is he then worth to Daniel Levy in terms of what he actually means to Tottenham, record goal scorer, what he gives us every season? Then you'd say maybe you add a bit more money onto that, maybe another £20 million, 110 million. I personally think that unless a Man United or someone like that comes in with 110 million pounds, I just don't see him going this summer. And I think Kane, then it'll be interesting to see whether Kane's like, how can you not sell me for 100 million if an offer turns down? Then you might see him be like, well, do you know what? I actually do want to leave this summer. So that's what will be interesting to see if he does hand in a transfer request. But the problem is, I'm not sure, because it's hard to say, because with Harry Kane, you feel that he loves the club a lot, right? Everything I've heard from friends who speak to his dad and other things, he loves Tottenham through and through. He does love the club. And I think he wanted more than anything to try and win something at this club. He's already broken the all-time goal scoring records. So unless you win a trophy, there's nothing else he can really do at this club. And I think realistically, he knows that there's probably not really a chance to win a trophy at this club. So
where does he go? Let me ask you guys then. Where realistically, lots of people, I think, only my opinion, lots of people say things like, "Oh, where would he go? Who will pay for him?" But can we rein this back in? This is Harry Kane. This is a guaranteed 30-plus goals a season in all competitions. This is one of the best passers of a ball in the Premier League. This is the England captain. If Harry Kane goes on that transfer market, guys, surely there's going to be a plethora of clubs whacking in bids for him, aren't there?
Of course
they will.
If the money's right, again, I'm just not sure that the club. From what I know, but what I was told ages ago, that they see him more valuable to Tottenham to have him for one more season and try and maximize as much as they can get out of him for one more season and let him go on a free than to sell him right now.
That's madness, isn't it?
I think that's madness as well. My opinion.
Andy, I don't believe that.
Crazy.
I don't believe that. Levy's an accountant. He looks at the numbers.
So let's look at that then, Danny. If you look at, let's just use the number 90 million. I don't know why that's the number everyone's talking about. 90 million pounds versus a bloke who'll score you 25, 30 goals next year, and we still might just be sort of mid-table or winning the bottom half of the league. What's the point, right? Like, surely if we're going to start again with a new manager, surely we might as well start without Harry Kane if he has no intent on being there longer than 12 months, right?
Sava, what you got to add to that, and Danny, you can add to this and put it into your answer as well, is we've also got the risk that I think someone said on your show when we were on Sunday, that what happens if Harry Kane picks up an injury that knocks him out for the season, or 3 or 4 months?
That's what I was saying, Brian.
Right. Then if that happens, then you can't, that could be, we don't sell him, 3 games into the season, he does his cruciate ligament, and then it's like, well, there's 90 million, the number Sava's using, gone, bang.
Yeah.
You'd like to think
just
so.
quickly, just before you answer that, Danny, just really quickly, thank you to Ransom Bants, who's just sent over 350 people in a raid. So there's now 823 of you in here. Please smash the like. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to Tottenham Away. Please subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Smash the like button. What we're saying, you might not want to hear about Kane, about Spurs, about Levy, but you need to hear it, right? You need to hear it. You don't want to hear it. It's like when you get dumped. You don't want to hear it, but you need to hear it to move on.
Do you know, if you're Man United, you're definitely going to put the feelers out, right? If you're Liverpool, you're probably going to be looking as well. If you're, Benzema's leaving Real Madrid, right? Real Madrid, do not write them off. That is the Galacticos club. Then you've got Pochettino at Chelsea. They need a striker. Kane has got a good relationship with Poch, we're led to believe. And then I don't think anyone should be writing off Man City. I think Pep really, really likes Kane. And as he gets older, he could fit into a midfield attacking role like Rooney did when he dropped deeper as he got older at United. So,
you think they'd find a place for him and Haaland, right?
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I do, because there's a couple of midfielders at City that are coming to the end of their contracts, like Gundogan. I think Silva might be.
Silva, yeah.
I think Kane, if anyone could mould Kane, it's Pep. It's Pep. So I think Kane's gone this summer, man. I do. I think it's madness for Spurs to keep him. I think it's madness for other clubs to not go in and get him now. I think it's madness for Kane. As a Spurs fan, I want him to stay. I support Spurs, not Kane.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I just don't see how he stays. I don't see how anyone wins by him staying.
So let me ask you a question then.
I agree.
Do you believe, because I think we all have the same kind of feeling of that, it's best for Kane to go now, get the money in this season and use it to reinvest into the squad. My question is, do you believe that they will reinvest the money properly? And do you believe Kane, the club will actually sell him this summer? And if they do, what do you think that fee would take?
No, I think we all know that at the moment, without a director of football coming in and without a manager that, you know, depending who that is, that they're not going to invest it properly. But for me, that doesn't offset the fact that 90 million versus 0 million is still, it just doesn't work out in math, right? So, look,
do you think that's what it takes, Sav? 90 million for him to go?
I think Stell was bang on. Daniel Levy's an accountant, right? And as much as Daniel Levy wants to play hardball and haggle with people, I don't think this man wants to watch his biggest asset for the last. Let's be fair. In terms of what he's given us longevity, he's the bigger asset than even Bale was, because Bale had a few years. Kane's given us 9-10 years and over 300 goals or whatever it is. So I don't think he's going to want to see that guy go on a free. That will crush everything for me.
Let me ask you guys a question.
You go first.
I just want to ask you a quick question. What would you rather as a fan? Sell Kane now, get 90 million. Kane stays for 1 year, he goes for 0. As a fan, what would you accept?
So this is where I was going to go there as well. What you got to remember as well, like Danny said about with the money, if Harry Kane was to go, Daniel Levy will do a classic here and make this drag out for as long as the window takes, like we did with Gareth Bale, like we did with Dimitar Berbatov in the last minute of the window, and then we get Fraser Campbell. Oh, look, we pocketed 90 million, but you can't spend it. You can't spend it. I'll put it in my little skyrocket until January, where in January, you can't get players in January. It's very, very hard to get I think, honestly, Tottenham Hotspur need to start learning to live with life without Harry Kane. I'm sorry.
Agree.
Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see him tomorrow sign an extension. We've got him for another 3 years. That would be incredible for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. But people have got to remember, we have been relying on this guy for 10 whole years in the first team or coming up. And it was like, if Kane's there, like I've said, we've got 20, 30 goals guaranteed. Guaranteed, not to even bring in assists. Whether it's 90 million this year or a free next year, unless that contract's signed, goodbye. Now you need to learn to live a life without me.
The thing is, Brian, we did this yesterday on Henry's channel, and we actually looked at, the conversation is always what will happen to Spurs without Harry Kane. But look, so many clubs in the Premier League don't have a Harry Kane. Right? There's not many of them flying around. So many clubs don't have that 25, 30 goal a season, man, and they're absolutely fine because they're well-oiled, well-drilled team units that are cohesive, as opposed to what we do every year, which is Kane and Son, obviously lesser Son this year, but Kane and Son, don't worry about a game plan. Let's just get it to them. You look at Brentford, you look at Brighton, you look at Fulham, you look at all of these clubs, how well they've done. None of them have guys that get 25, 30 goals a season, but they all have 7 or 8 players that get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think when Kane goes, we talk about like for like. We're not getting like for like. When Kane goes, I think it needs to be more about how are we going to change the setup rather than how are we just going to find one striker to replace the goals that Harry Kane gives us. That's just my opinion. I don't think you replace him with one bloke because, let's be fair, guys, if there's a Harry Kane-esque player out there, he's not coming to Tottenham Hotspur, is he, right? If he's as good as Harry Kane, he's going to Munich, Madrid. So I think it's about, that's why it's for me about getting a manager that can coach, a proper manager that coaches, a Frank, you know what I mean, a De Zerbi, these managers who coach. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Do you know, I think what worries me the most about this Harry Kane situation is I think we all know I think it's better for him to go now if we can get money for him. But I'd be happy if we knew we were going to get an Arne Slot or Nagelsmann. But my concern is, do you think that the Harry Kane situation is also another big problem to try and bring in a manager? Because if you're looking at the state of Tottenham right now and the way the club is, the one good thing you can see out of Tottenham right now is Harry Kane, right? If you're trying to advertise for a job for a manager and say, so our best trader, our best this person, our best that person, our best player, our best Harry Kane is potentially leaving the club, are you going to be happy with that? You're looking at the Tottenham mess right now and you're looking like, and now you're going to take Harry Kane out of that as well. It's like the manager asking him to do Mission Impossible. And I think that's also making it more difficult for trying to bring in a manager as well. Because, like, if it wasn't Arne Slot, I would be happy for Harry Kane to go and let him bring his own people he wants to bring in and try to build something brand new, completely new. It's going to be so painful as a Tottenham fan to see Harry Kane go. You don't want to see the club record goal scorer, someone who every single one of us absolutely loves as a footballer, right? Leave your club because he believes.
Danny, isn't that going to be the same of any manager, whether it's Slot or not? Whoever comes in, surely what they can't do is start I hate these words, a process, a project, a build. Surely that manager can't come in and start that with Harry Kane if we know he's going a year later, because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. But my issue is, Sav, is that we've obviously been apparently linked to so many of these managers who've kind of been crossed off the list one by one as the weeks have gone on, and it's like now we're into what are like 5th or 6th choice manager, like a Brendan Rodgers or a Potter. Do the club feel that they're gonna fully invest into one of those managers, knowing that that's not really who they wanted, but they're only going for them because that's the only available option? And that's my problem. That we're not going to be able to, like you said, use these buzzwords like build or a new process if they feel they're not going to fully get behind that person's vision of what they want to achieve. And that's my problem.
I think you've got to also add into this equation as well. All right, we're not talking on the same spectrum as in value or whatever, but if we flip it to the other side of the pitch, we're about to lose a goalkeeper we've had for 10 years. Who has been absolutely incredible, apart from his decline in the final 2 years, has been our captain. Don't get me wrong, the sweeper keeper, he was brilliant. We are now, the world knows, we are looking for a number one. Yes, Fraser Forster is there but the whole world knows, and we're going to see this shit show of a club once again. I can promise you, has not done its due diligence, has not done its scouting like Man U did with Van der Sar when they looked for De Gea, or other clubs do. We're about to go through an absolutely shocking show of trying to get a goalkeeper in, and every single club knows, oh, wait a minute, you've just sold your captain, who's been there for X amount of time. You've done no preparation, and not even that, We haven't even got the manager or director of football to decide which one they want. So you're talking about up the top and scoring goals. Our biggest problem right now is defending and not being able to keep clean sheets and stopping them going in. We've got a goalkeeper leaving. We've got a defence that needs huge improvement, yet we're ripping contracts up. So even if you look, we need help in the defence before we even think about attack, and we're in a goddamn mess there. Who's coming in as goalkeeper? Has there been one serious link where you go, okay, we're going down this avenue?
The thing is, at the moment, how can we? Let me bring you in here, Stel, and just quickly before I do, just quickly, this comment, H, I don't think anyone's happy to see Kane leave. I think we're just talking about scenarios where if he says he wants to leave, do we do it on a free or not? And also, just really quickly, I've got a super chat here that I should have read out a while ago from Ave Spurs. Big up Ave said, I literally just bought a Hartlepool FC season ticket today. I'm so done with this club that I would rather watch a team relegated from League Two. Big up, lads. Love the show, but damn, we are screwed. Ave, big up. It's why I stopped going to Spurs. I'm not putting any money into it until I minimum see a plan. Stel, I mean, I agree with Brian. We've got no succession planning for people like Lloris, but how can we have that succession plan when we don't have a director of football or manager? How are those things being addressed right now?
There's no plan for what we want. I touched on it earlier. When you get out of bed in the morning, right, you've got to know why you're getting out of bed, okay? To say, oh, I got out of bed because I've got to brush my teeth, because I've got to take the kids to school. You're supposed to brush your teeth. You're supposed to make sure the kids go to school. These aren't reasons to get out of bed. Right? When you get out of bed, there's got to be a purpose to your life. There's got to be a purpose to your day. When Daniel Levy gets out of bed, it's his purpose. I've got to win that Premier League. I've got to win that FA Cup. Until we have that, everything else means nothing. So get a manager, bring in a goalie. What are they there for? Do they know what they're trying to achieve? Can they see that everyone's on the same page because the whole club has been told this is what we're doing? No. So you can bring in a director of football, you can bring in a chief scout, you can do whatever you want. Nothing will change at this club until they decide what they want. And for us as fans, the only thing we can see that they want is top four money and to be in the Champions League. Other than that, there is nothing that they've done to suggest in the last 5 years since that stadium got built that they want to be a serious football club that genuinely goes all out to try and win silverware on a regular basis. So for me, it doesn't matter what we do with the goalie.
Would you like to answer? Someone like to ask this question. Garage Classics, he keeps going at me. Mate, listen, you keep going at me. You make me laugh.
Garage Classics right there.
Right. I want to show you his next message as well. So he said, I must be the only person that's confident that things will be fine. It's never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think. And then he's gone on to say, and this is the funny one, although I know outrage and rants pay the bills for some YouTubers, let me just assure you, my mortgage is not funded by my YouTube, right? I don't know how much money you think I bring in through YouTube, but I can assure you that it's not enough to pay my bills. And guys, on a serious note, apart from the millions we'll bring in revenue each month from YouTube, why is there anyone that's confident things will turn out all right? Are they not seeing the absolute demise that we're seeing?
Okay, I'll do it just very quickly. There was a comment before, and I just want people to crack my code and see if it's hard enough to understand. More details to come out. There's a question saying, are there going to be protests at various events that are happening throughout the summer? All I can say is maybe there will, maybe there won't, but you'll be knowing the details later. But maybe there will, maybe there won't.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have
no idea. But so now let's get back to Garage Classics. I have said this on a number of occasions. I have been Levy out for 15 years. The day that Martin Jol was sacked at half-time in a football match. Long before YouTube. long before Twitter, long before any of that. So I don't give a monkeys about my channel. I don't give a monkeys about
and
being
we started
on
off as a podcast. We started off as a podcast.
we started
no
off as a
money,
podcast
no sponsor, nothing.
No, nothing. In fact, we had to pay to be able to put it on. People forget we need to pay a monthly subscription to do this. So we have to pay to do this. What I have done is I have a platform to speak about it. I don't give a fuck if I did this. Do we make some money out of it? Occasionally. Is it life-shatteringly changing? No. I do this because, like I said, before Stel and I started going on We Are Tottenham TV, and Danny, to that matter, Levy Out was never spoken about. Never ever spoken about. It was mentioned in a few a few Facebook groups, but it was never discussed openly. So we created a platform. We went on We Are Tottenham TV, and from the very moment I went on it, before the Super League, I was still going on mad about Levy Out when we beat Man U 6-1 during COVID. Before the Super League came out, there have been so many negatives. If someone said to me, Daniel Levy sells the club today, but the only difference is, Brian Daigle, you can never appear on YouTube, Twitter. Goodbye, see you later, ta-da. I vanished like the Bermuda Triangle. I couldn't give a flying monkeys.
Not me, Brian. It pays my bills.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, you're in a different element, mate.
Brian, can I just add one thing on this?
Yeah, go on, brother.
If you think the club's doing great, and if you think Levy and Enoch are taking us the right direction, and if you think we're at an advantage and all these things, start a platform and educate. Get people to follow, do your live shows, do your live streams, and talk about it.
I have to say,
you can have a platform for the different opinion as well.
So I just want to add, in Garage Classic's favour, on 527, he said I wasn't referring to anyone on this channel.
Yes, he is. He is. He goes at me every show.
Okay, so then
you know the people that you know that come into your show regularly, right? That he even emailed me yesterday.
Okay, then
because I put him into a timeout on Henry's channel. So yeah, you know. Look, I want to go for another.
That's a Garage Classic. There you go.
Are you sleeping? Yeah, Levy is. Look, I just want to go for another 5-10 minutes, guys.
That wrote itself. Of all the tunes to choose, you had that one.
That's the first one I picked up.
Guys, want to just go for another 5-10 minutes maximum. Otherwise, we'll just labour the point. Look, seriously now. We're in danger, aren't we, of repeating history here in terms of what happened a couple of years ago when we let Jose go, and it took X amount of 72 days or whatever the number was to get in a new manager. I've been a little bit more lenient this last few weeks or last month because I truly believe that, okay, we'll have a manager in place by next Monday, as soon as the league's finished. I was lenient saying, well, maybe the manager we want is in a job. For me, I will be really, really angry if the manager we hire in the next couple of weeks or month, whatever, has been available all this time. Right? I will forgive the club if it's a manager who is in a job. So, for example, if Lopetegui signed, I can forgive them because Wolves were still playing. But if it does turn out to be Enrique, Potter, Nagelsmann, I will be frustrated. Do you guys understand where I'm coming from with that?
Yeah, it's like I've said again for the last few days that the uncanny similarities to when Nuno came in. If people aren't seeing the step by step. Oh, let's go for a big name, Nagelsmann. Oh, no, that's not happening. Let's go for a big name, or not big name, but someone that's just won the league. Slot. No. We'll go on. We'll be Fonseca, all these stupid names, and then it will be someone that is either out of a job right now or is leaving their current position at the end of the season. There will be no compensation fees paid. There'll be no negotiations on we're in talks to try and come down. It will be someone that is available, that is out of work and has no obligations or no commitment to anywhere. So that is what is going to happen. I will mark my words. I've told you before, I am fluent in Levy bullshit. And believe me, what is going on right now is grade A Levy bullshit.
I'm fluent in Levy bullshit.
Completely, mate. I got a degree, a bachelor's. I went to Cambridge. For it.
So did Levy.
Yeah, exactly. Close quarters, mate. It's the home of the Levy bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, Danny, Stel. I mean, look, realistically, it's not looking great, is it? Can anyone for the last 5 minutes give me any positives? Is there anything as fans that we can say, okay, we've got that ounce of pride, or we've got that ounce of, you know, some light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, we might see one of our own become our permanent manager, so maybe that's a good thing. That's the only thing I can say. I don't even I don't believe.
Well, let's talk about that for the last 5 minutes. He can't be, can he? Ryan Mason, guys. I'm seeing fans now, and I don't care how disillusioned we get. I cannot ever entertain the idea of Ryan Mason as the manager of this football club. That's simply
if that happens,
but he's Spurs through and through.
Yeah,
he bleeds Tottenham.
I mean, look, if that does happen, I'm really intrigued to see the reaction of the fans. To be honest with you, because if that doesn't cause the fans to hit their breaking point and walk out the stadium, if they're in the stadium, or then I don't know what will. If I'm honest, and I don't even know. I think you'll get a lot of fans probably just switch off after that if that happens. I just don't think. I think fans will just get to the point where they won't even care anymore. They won't even protest. They just won't even bother anymore. That's how sad it will become. In my opinion, that's what I think will happen if Mason gets the job.
Yeah, Stel.
But can I just ask you before Stel goes? Yeah. Do you think though that we are actually? Because I genuinely think we're getting to that point. Because what happens if Potter, for example, Graham Potter, right? He didn't want to come to Spurs before. What has changed that makes him think, actually, I want to go to Spurs? Because does he look at it and go, oh, I'm out of a job. It's maybe another potential pathway for me to get into the management again and maybe try and start from the ground up and build the foundation at Tottenham? Or does he look at it and be like, well, Daniel Levy's still there. They're still not going to give me what I wanted originally. So why am I going to go there again? Or why am I going to entertain a job there, right? So then imagine if you rule out Graham Potter next, Almiron, right? People are saying Ruben Almiron, right? His contract clause is much bigger than Arne Slot's, right? Arne Slot's hasn't got a clause this season. Next season, his clause comes into play, which is £6 million. But if he signs a new extension, then that's going to change, right? So if you rule out Almiron, because we're not paying 30-odd million euros to release him from his contract. So you take him off the list. Then you start looking at who's actually there. Brendan Rodgers. Is that literally what we're going to go for? Brendan Rodgers or Ryan Mason? And that does not fill me with any excitement, any joy, any hope that this club is going to have a plan going forward. And that, for me, is the biggest issue with where we are at the moment, is the fact that I just don't feel that we're just going to... I think it's going to get worse, even worse than what it is at the moment, if we hire one of those two as the manager.
Yeah, Stel.
Deep in thought is Stel.
I put a video out yesterday and I said, do not get sucked in. Don't get sucked in. And today they announced Arne Slot's not going to be the manager. I didn't think that was going to happen, by the way, but I just thought, no, don't get sucked in still. Don't. This is too good to be true. And I think Spurs fans should just brace for impact. Just buckle up, because I don't see a top manager coming into this club. Because you got to think about it. If I was a top manager and I've seen the fans singing Poch's name and the club don't even look at him, Nagelsmann say no thank you, Arne Slot just play us. He used us to get his better deal with final. By the way, Iggy said he used us like a hoe. He calls him Arne Slut because he used us.
Listen, there's probably a lot of truth to that. Yeah, there probably is. But look, guys, let's.
I stick to what I said, Trevor. I think it's going to be Rodgers, Potter, or Mason. And
yeah,
I think any one of them is going to be a disaster. Mason will be the biggest disaster of the lot.
Three and three.
Yeah. I mean, out of those three, who's your preference? Got to pick one.
Couldn't give a fuck.
I think Potter's the only one who's got, as what our friend Minerals would say, is the only one who's got the minerals to maybe change something at this club. I'm not saying it's going to massively change culture or...
You'd say Brendan Rodgers, because he actually did all right at Liverpool. Other than Gerrard slipping, he could have won the league title. So, slipping against Chelsea. So, Brendan Rodgers, and he's won an FA Cup. So he's probably the best of the three. But I don't think Rodgers is going to hack this job. This job is so toxic. It's so rotten.
Don't you think one of the issues is going to be here as well is that we're at the stage where whichever manager comes in, there's going to be spells where we don't win for 3 or 4 games, and I think what we can't do is immediately call for someone's head, because this is going to get, to take this right full circle back to the beginning of the show, guys. This is going to get worse before it gets better, and the new manager coming in, we can't take this all out on them, whoever it is, right? It doesn't matter if it's Rodgers, if it's Potter, we can't take it out on them, because this is the cards we've been dealt now, right?
Sava, you haven't heard fans chanting, "We want Mason out. We want Mason out." It's Levy out. I think fans will direct. I think fans will direct it to Levy. I think fans will question the manager's decisions because that's natural. The reality is, we can be patient. Will Levy be patient, being mid-table for a couple of years? I just don't see it. I don't believe he's got the patience for it.
Agreed.
But then what happens then? Because surely even a blind person can see that this squad now isn't. No, look, let's be honest. No manager in world football comes in with this squad and gets top 4. And I don't care if we make 2 or 3 good additions in the summer. As you said at the beginning of the show, Stel, there are so many clubs much better prepared already without the signings they're about to make in the window to finish top 4. Like, so when I see fans now going, "Oh, who can get us back to Champions League?" I go, "Nah, you're on the wrong page here." So I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Look, we're getting to the point now where the hard work us as a group have put in to get us where we are with the exposure we're getting, whether it's spoken about in a positive light, a negative light, not bothered. Whether you've seen that the broadcasters are picking up on the banners, the balloons are getting on there. It's just a shame we've got to where we are right at the end of the season. That's the biggest shame of it all. But we've got.
If we had a home game this Saturday, this Saturday, my days,
mate, yeah, exactly. Especially with the news with Slot, but we're getting to a point now where we go back into the new season when this comes, and if it's the summer, we all think it's going to be a disappointment of not getting targets in, of managers rejecting us. I'll tell you what, it's going to get to the point where Daniel Levy might be like the Everton chairman, where he might be advised not to come. Because that's where we've got to. That's where we're getting to right now. He wasn't at Villa. I won't be surprised.
Are we Everton without Kane? Are we Everton without?
Yes, we are. And anyone that says any different, listen. Put it this way: without Harry Kane's goals in the Premier League this season, we're 16th. Forget his assists. Without his goals, we are 16th in the Premier League. That is factual.
I've heard you, Sav, speak about this actual conversation, right? Where you said, and I know someone else I've heard on another stream say about, if you actually take out Harry Kane's goals, like realistically, if you look at it, maybe other players might have stepped up and scored some more goals. Even if that was to happen, maybe we might not, like, just hypothetically speaking, even if that wasn't to happen, I still think we'd be lower in the table than where we are right now. I reckon we'd probably be floating around the 13th, 14th position.
Oh, my God. I completely agree.
If you take out Kane, maybe not relegation, maybe not, but at least you know that would happen, right? So
yeah, of course. Look, I think it's it's the same with any kind of stat like that. You can spin it. Listen, it's a powerful stat, isn't it? That take out his goals, but let's be fair. No one's going to replace all of those goals, but there's going to be some of them where someone else would have been in the position or whatever. But the point stands. Harry, listen, let's be fair. It doesn't matter if it's Richarlison, Brian. I don't believe that if Harry Kane hadn't played all season, that we would have scored 28 goals less than we did.
No, that you got a point, but
you know what I mean.
You're right. You're right.
But look, it's bleak without him. But it might be. People are going to think this mad. It might be the best thing that ever happens to this club, because it forces us to find a solution. It forces us to do something. And at the moment, we are Harry Kane FC. Pep called it, and all our fans went mad. Do you remember? All our fans went mad at Guardiola. Going, who does he think he is? We always beat them. Kane FC, we've got loads of players. And here we are. Just quickly, let me quickly get while you're here, guys. Last 2 minutes. Let me quickly get your thoughts. Nothing to do with Spurs. Man City versus Inter Milan, Champions League final. I've gone 4-0. I've been told I'm mad for that prediction, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think City will win it. I think they've got the way they're playing at the moment, the form they're in. And also, I think the way when I've listened to them, their interviews and the way Pep's interviewed, it's like they've got a massive chip on their shoulder and they're out for blood at the moment. They want that Champions League badly. And I think Haaland and Grealish this season, and obviously Gundogan is so many amazing players, but they've kind of just clicked now. And some of them have stepped up, like the Grealishes have stepped up again. Gundogan recently has stepped up again. And I just think that there's just too much for them. Everyone is playing well. Their squad is unbelievable. And I just think there's too much for Inter Milan. And I think they'll win it. I think it'll be like a 3-1 or something like that. I think Inter will score, but I think it'll be like a 3-1. I think they'll dominantly win it.
Yeah, Stel, I've waited for ages to have this conversation with you. I remember some conversations we had about Man City. Look, I mean, they've just come into their own, haven't they? In the last sort of, I was going to say the last few games, they haven't lost for 28 games, but they've come in at the right time, and it just, I don't know. Everyone keeps telling me that Pep's bottled finals, but if you've noticed in all the big games lately, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, he goes to his tried and tested 11 and his tried and tested formation, and that will be what plays in the Champions League final, won't it?
If he plays his best 11. They'll win the final. If they're all fit, they'll win it. Because there's only so many times you can knock on the door and not go through the door. And they've been knocking. And I think this is the best team they've put together. Yeah, they've clicked at the right time. They won it. They actually won it. The only thing I will say, an Italian team will gladly sit there, stink it out and try and get it to penalties, or just try and get 1-0 and that can be a difficult situation. So I'm not writing off Inter, but if you're a betting man, sure, you're going all in on City. I actually think the FA Cup finals are a harder game, because I think Man United, it means so much to stop them winning the treble, because they are the only team that's done the treble. And Man United, I think, is going to be, if City lose a final, it'll be the FA Cup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my man Garage Cassidy's back. Yeah, you could say he's bottled Champions League games, my friend, but at the moment, this City team look ruthless. They look like sweeping past everybody. And I remember coming up to the Arsenal game and I was saying on different channels, like, I said, I think it'll be 4-0 or, whatever. And people were like, oh, they're not that good. And I was like, yeah, they are. And then they've done it again against Bayern Munich. And then I don't know what you guys think, but that display against Real Madrid is one of the best performances I think I've ever seen from
home and away. They dominated.
Dominated, yeah. But look,
what you got to remember with Man City as well, Sava, is Man City throughout the season have rotated that squad because Pep knew at the end of the season, come business end, he needs, as you said, his tried and tested available. De Bruyne has spent time on the bench. Silva. Even that's what they've been doing. He has geared it up to say, rather than having a fast start and blowing it, let's make sure we have a very, very strong finish. And you've got to remember, they lost to Brentford at home before the World Cup. All right, yeah, they lost to us, but even with doing that, they are geared and ready. And I agree with Stel. I think Man U are going to take a hell of a lot out of them. And it's just whether Inter Milan's defence, and let's face it, the Italian defence can do it the best, can hold out.
Yeah, I think, look, when you look at it, Inter Milan are fantastic defensively. I think the only worry about when that is your game plan is the moment City get one goal,
and it's over.
Your game plan kind of goes out the window a little bit, doesn't it? And look, I made a really bold statement the other day, and you guys will probably laugh at this, but you know me, I like a bold statement every now and then. I reckon Man City win the Champions League with Inter Milan only having about 19% possession in the entire game. 1-9.
That'd be ridiculous.
1-9.
That'd be unbelievable.
The
thing is, Inter Milan have got a good midfield, though. Inter do have a good midfield. They've got good midfielders. That'd be a tough ask.
Yeah. I just feel like this is their time. And can you look? I'm going to get clipped all over the place if Inter Milan win this now. So hey, it is what it is.
What happens if they win it with 19% possession? Then you're half right.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I can't lose either way, Brian.
I'll tell you what's bad. I shouldn't say this, right? I couldn't give a fuck about City. I hope they crumble. I hope they lose. I hope they fail. But from a football perspective, I hope they win the final, man, because they do football justice. Football deserves that kind of a footballing team, the way they play, to be lifting the trophies. I hate it when I see. Listen, I love what Mourinho has done, and I love the way Mourinho just stinks it out against Bayer Leverkusen. 0 shots, 0 XG, 0-0-0-0, and gets to a final. I can admire that. I've got a lot of time for managers like that. But from a football perspective, watching the beautiful game that we love, I hope City win it, man, because they play the best football in the world. They play the best football.
I agree. Let me just
some of the best football I've ever seen from a team.
I've got super chat and a couple of comments to end on. So super chat here from Glenn, big up Glenn, has said, as a Newcastle United fan, you lucky git. I feel your pain. For me, there's been numerous times where Spurs had massive opportunities to build on momentum they created and didn't. Glenn, we're 100% behind that, mate. That's exactly where a lot of the pain comes from. This is from Mr. Sam Perfect, who was the best man at my wedding. He is a West Ham fan. Hence the question, who is going to win the Europa Conference League? Guys, are West Ham going to win this?
West Ham, and I hope they do. I'm being serious. Yeah. I've said it on every show. I hope they do.
Who they play?
Let's more bad to come our way.
Fiorentina. Are you not worried about the banter you're going to get, Brian? Like,
no, we deserve it. We deserve it. We deserve it.
But don't care. Look, let me explain. Let me explain. Right. So, if Sam is still watching the show, you should be at work, Sam, or whatever you're doing. In my friends' WhatsApp group, which has nothing to do with football, like just football creeps into there. Yeah. All last year, all I had every time West Ham played, massive. Like, no, stop! You're not massive. Then a year later, I'm like cheering them on to get relegated, and instead they're in a European final. It's like, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, I've said it before. Whatever it takes to make this fan base do some more and make it realise that how bad this is, that West Ham could win a European cup for us. A European Cup that apparently right now a lot of us don't want to get into. And they're going to win it and be in the Europa League. Jose Mourinho didn't take this competition as a Mickey Mouse. He was like, I'm going to win this because he's a win.
Yeah.
They go ahead and win this. They've had a better season than us. They go and win this. They've ended their trophy jar, which is a lot longer than ours. But they'll banter us and it will all come our way. Have we had more opportunities than them? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we do anything about it?
Do you know
just
this?
Go on.
Go on, sir.
No, go.
This is Mourinho's third cup final in a row in 3 years, right? Third cup final in 3 years. And I hope we get in the Conference League because the final next year, the Conference League final is in Athens. We'll have a banging night out in Athens. I'll tell you now.
We'll get to the final still.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Yeah.
Look, guys, it is what it is. Jose again, another European final. Listen, just quickly, I do need to stop the show. I'm jumping on with Henry at 6, and I've got something to do before that. Just quickly, Garage Classics. I love the banter back and forth. Do I put this City team in the top 5 teams since the year 2000? I put it in the top 5 teams of Premier League teams ever. For me, this is football perfection. I put it as the best team I've ever seen. The football is just absolutely ridiculous. Goals from everywhere. Pep sorted out the defence as well. Rodri, for me, is the best player in the Premier League. There you go, I said it. And, I do. But listen, thank you very much. Stel, thanks very much. Everybody, please get over and subscribe to Tottenham Away. Help them build and grow. Get over to Tottenham on Tour. Help them build and grow. help me build and grow, help the whole Spurs community. Thank you, everyone. Little video to play you out of something about winning, which we know nothing about. Peace out, everybody.
Always, Levy out.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now.